Hello, welcome to Meet the Expert, our monthly session where we give you free training from experts in the field. You can see Midge is on the screen here. We'll come and do some intros in a moment. Liton was here. He's had to pop off with a technical issue. He'll be back any second and we'll get their introductions. So the way that this works, I'm Angela Cripps, the MD of the Recruiting Gym, and it's really important for me to share training, share development with everyone within the recruitment industry to make sure that, hi Liton, that everyone gets the opportunity for free training to develop their skills. So we have half an hour with our experts here today, Midge and Liton, and then there'll be 15 minutes for Q&A. Please feel free though to write your questions in the chat or put them in as a question as we go through the presentation, so that if there is anything that you want to know, we'll make sure that we put those into the Q&A at the end, or it might even get answered as they're talking. Right, welcome, gentlemen. I'm going to come to Midge first of all.
It needs to be me, I think.
Is not happy, is it? We'll get there in some way, shape, or form. So, Midge, just give us a short intro. Who you are.
Hi, Angela. Good to see you. Hi, everyone. My name is Midge Bennett. I'm a long-term recruitment person. I've been in this industry for about 30 years. Started as most people do, at resourcer, and set up some recruitment businesses. In the last 5 years, I've been working as a coach and an advisor to the recruitment sector. And my interest has always been in sales and marketing and branding and how that can affect success of any business. So that's always been something that I've focused on in the work that I've done. And I was lucky enough to meet Liton about 15 years ago when I set up a business, and he did several brands for us. And that was about 2005-06, I think, when we started working together. So I'm delighted to be back doing something with him again.
I have been working in branding, PR and marketing for around about 25 years now. And I've come from the world of outside recruitment to accidentally walking into recruitment, like a lot of people I've learned do actually, by working at a web agency that looked after exclusively recruitment companies. And while I was there, I learned a lot about the problems that recruiters have with actually trying to market themselves. And I think that was about 10, 11 years ago. And I'm finding today that everything's changed in recruitment in so many ways. Everything's so much more digital. The attitude towards marketing is completely different. However, the problems that people are having in the recruitment industry when it comes to marketing are still absolutely the same. And we'll talk about some of these today. But for that reason, I kind of work between recruitment and not recruitment a lot of the time.
And this is what we love. We find people that have been in the industry a long time, really know the ins and outs of it, but have also grown through that time and can see where we are now and the differences that we've got. Okay, we are there. If you want to just click it as a slideshow unless you want to leave it with the slides up, I'm telling you what to do here. You're the marketing person. Take it from there. I'm going to drop off, but I will be here if you have any problems. I'm going to hand it over to you two now so that you can share your presentation.
Liton, do you want me to do a bit of a preamble to why we are doing this?
I think, Midge, if you could talk to everyone about how you recently wrote a blog post and it kind of got quite a few comments, that would probably be useful.
Sure. Okay. The background to this, the real flex and the work that Liton and I are doing with Chris Cranshaw is around the change in attitude that we've seen in the recruitment sector towards marketing. There's been a radical change, and the most significant moment that we've seen is people are spending money. Significant investments are going into brand and marketing that historically have not done so. I mean, historically, recruitment marketing has been pretty poor in my view. We haven't invested in it. There are very few experienced and skilled recruitment marketers out there. We sense there's a moment to support and help this growing community of recruitment marketers and people responsible for branding in our sector. I mean, there's a lot of evidence to support this change and this attitude. I mean, not only are the number of recruitment marketing jobs that are increasing significantly, we're seeing that. Anecdotally, Liton and I have got a number of clients that we work with who are investing heavily in marketing comparatively to previous years. the marketing services companies that we know, the creative people in our sector, are hugely busy. So all of these things are leading us to believe that there's a real need and desire for recruitment marketing to elevate itself. And principle, there are a number of reasons behind this change in attitude, we think. There's a better understanding in most of recruitment owners and directors of the importance of it and how it can help your business. There's been a huge focus on marketing to talent and candidates as we all suffer these talent shortages at the moment. So there's various drivers behind it, but we really believe that the key one is probably the changing in buying patterns and processes. The evidence and the research shows that 70% of the buying decision from someone buying a recruitment service is made before they engage with a company or an individual consultant. So they are looking at all of your marketing collateral, your digital presence, your social presence. They're looking at all the evidence that they can see for the jobs you work, the candidate satisfaction you give. All of that stuff is being examined before they engage with you. So in essence, if you haven't got that stuff in order, you're behind the game, hence what we're doing here. And Liton's going to talk to you about some of the key challenges we think are out there for people in our sector to build strong brands and marketing strategies.
And I think one of the things Midge was talking about, the evidence that we're seeing to see that people are definitely spending more on recruitment. Back in 2010, I worked for a company which was called Format at the time. And there were companies that would ask us to do things like, look, can you do a rebrand for £500? Which was a stupid question back then, because you can't do a rebrand. You can't even design anything like a logo for £500 because it doesn't buy enough of a designer's time, let alone the other people that you need. Fast forward 12 years now, and well, there are loads of people that will make you a logo for less than £500 now, but not necessarily very professionally. And the reason for that is because a lot of people have been equipped with tools such as Canva that make design easier than ever. But the process of branding a company is still as complicated as it ever was. And some of the evidence I'm definitely seeing is I'd say 4 out of 5 of my proposals would be turned down by companies in recruitment because I was way too expensive and they want to go and find somebody who was as cheap as possible. But my branding proposals start at £10,000. What's different now is I get accepted a lot more often by recruitment companies because they're spending the money. So, and every time somebody I meet who's willing to invest wants to spend the money, the thing that they do is they get really, really invested at directorship level. And that's one of the things that I really want to talk about today. So I think marketing in recruitment is definitely having a moment. People are spending more money. People are hiring the right people. People are looking for marketing candidates from outside and within recruitment. But go back to my existence as a recruitment marketer 12 years ago, the same problem still exists. What used to happen to me years and years ago is people would say, hey, I've made a website now. All the technical stuff's done. I don't know what to put in it. And that still happens today. I still pick up jobs as a recruitment marketer, stroke brander, by getting phone calls from people who have bought volcanic websites, for example, made them as well as they can, then gone, do you know what? I've only just realized I have to populate this thing with content. And it's one of those things in recruitment that we've run ahead to the software as a service model, but forgotten about some of the essentials that you would have had to do if you were in a traditional marketing job. And I think in recruitment marketers are often set up to fail. I think what happens with recruitment is there's a low barrier of entry to recruitment as an industry, as it were. And nowadays there's a low barrier to entry as a marketer, because all you really need to do is know how to use social media, probably know how to use something like Canva or PowerPoint, and Bob's your uncle. However, what you're still doing if you're coming into recruitment marketing from outside is you are dealing with the old school perception of recruiters that exists for one reason or another, and you are battling against, you're battling against, look, recruitment people spam you. They used to call you, Then they started emailing you. Now they in-mail you. And my God, they started WhatsApping and turning up in my Instagram direct messages. They're more disgusting than ever before if you talk to the public. However, on the other hand, if you talk to somebody who's worked with a recruiter and just got a 50 grand pay rise, well, I think all they'll tell you is about how their life has changed for the better, and it was all thanks to this person. The same problem still exists where there's not a link between that person who said, hey, my life has changed, and the other end, which is where your recruitment brand has to be recognized when the phone is ringing anonymously and you want someone to engage with a recruitment consultant from a cold call, essentially. So I believe that recruitment marketers are generally set up to fail by companies that don't really invest in the hard work you need to do before you start marketing. There are other things that we often talk about when it comes to, look, how do we do recruitment marketing right? Well, there are problems. Coming up with ideas is very difficult. It's hard to know where to start because there's so many things you could do. Should I advertise on Facebook or should I start a podcast? All these things take time, effort, and money, and all of those things are limited for every company. There's the obvious things of the market being really crowded. And then the thing I hear all the time in recruitment, which is, look, we've spent some money on recruitment, but what we're finding is that we can't really differentiate ourselves because everybody else who does what we do does the same thing. We're no different. We can't find a USP. We can't find a way to express how to be different. So what's the point? And now that we spend money on this marketing bollocks, does any of it work? I mean, we threw X amount of money down the toilet doing LinkedIn advertising, and we've spent loads of money on putting out podcasts that only 11 people listen to. We don't know what to measure. You come full circle, so you're back to the same old problem, which is, look, what do we actually say to get this right? And what I think is that as people work in recruitment, whether you're in marketing or not, the answer to the problem is you've got to see marketing as an entire business problem. Recruitment agencies have a whole load of marketers working in them already. They're the consultants. They're the people that are making phone calls. They're all working on their personal brands already. They're posting stuff on LinkedIn, Twitter, wherever. You already have marketers working in your business. What you have to do is you have to harness them and you have to give them the right tools. And the thing you definitely can't start with is you cannot start with content. That's always a big mistake. You can't start with doing marketing things like giving somebody the login to Twitter and expecting them to make a difference in marketing. The reason for that is because the hard work you have to do first is get your brand correct. Most people start at the wrong place. They start by communicating things and not having decided exactly what they need to say, or even to exactly whom. A lot of people, let's say you hire temporary staff for offices, it's such a broad generic remit that they think that they target everybody. But you can't go around doing business saying that we target everybody because you end up reaching nobody genuinely. So that's why we create brands. What is a brand? It's the gut feeling that's left behind with somebody after they've interacted with your company. A brand is a personality wrapped around your company. It's a way to make it more human. And it's made up by all the different things that you say about the world, about your company, about the candidates, and all the things you say to them as well. But that's not all a brand is. A brand is like a real life person. What we're trying to do is we're trying to bring a company to life so that people trust it, because people don't trust companies. They never have done, really. And we're trying to get past that by applying brands to them. Therefore, you can't be all personality. You naturally, as a brand, have a central character that can dictate your personality. The difference between personality and character is not something I'm going to go into in depth here, but it's really important. Personality is based on the way you portray yourself to the world, the way you present yourself out there. You know, you might, let's say, have one personality at your in-laws for dinners. You might be quite quiet there, but when you're out with all of your best friends that you went to school with, you might be very loud and make rude jokes all the time. You can have different facets to your personality. It doesn't mean you have a different personality for each. It just means that you know how to act differently. Your character is different. Your character, it's central. It's the core that makes your personality work well. And the character is something that is guided by your values and the things that you really care about. Personality is how you behave in public. Character is what you do when no one's looking, essentially, to really sum that up. And
Liton, can I just interject there? Just because we're still only seeing your PowerPoint, not the actual presentation. I know you've just moved on to a slide. So if you want to, we can cut this bit out as well, by the way. The live people will get to see it, but the people that watch it afterwards won't. If you want to go back to your PowerPoint presentation and either go to slide 2 and 3 and just show it to us and go through it that way. I think that's probably the quickest and the easiest way to resolve this issue.
Got it. Excuse me for a second while I do exactly what Angela.
It was going so slickly as well. There we go. I think that'll be fine. We'll be, because they're big enough. That's brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you. So here's the diagram that I drew to illustrate this. It just goes to me to reinforce something that you already know. It's really obvious. It's just that we sometimes don't think about this when we talk about brands. So you can give somebody the keys to Instagram to make you look really sustainable and like the most wonderful green recruitment company out there in the world, who declares themselves experts in sustainability. But your character is shown when you hand over a really thick laminated business card, of which you have 40,000 sitting in the office, of which you threw 10,000 away last week, and they're all covered in plastic rather than being made from recycled cotton like you should be doing nowadays if you're that kind of business. So personality and character work together, but really what we're given as marketers normally in recruitment is we're told, look, go and build a personality around this company. And it's just not the way it happens. What you have to do, rather than go for personality, is you have to work out what the character is and try and reflect that. Let me talk about quickly how that works in the corporate world. So Sky, the big media company, are very, very proud of the fact that they were the first media company to go net zero, carbon neutral, etc. You may know that they do other things like try and clean up the oceans, and they are constantly talking about how their values involve looking after the earth, and they make big installations. They're on TV always talking about it. Now, that's a great thing to have. It's a great aspiration to have as a brand, and that's a good thing to do as part of your brand personality. But you also have to get all your staff, not just your marketing people and your CSR department, talking in this way. And again, the other thing, back to character, you have to get them behaving in this way. While it's all very well having your lovely messaging about saving the planet, well, I walked past a Sky engineer in summer last year. He was sat in the car park of an air-conditioned supermarket, which had a cafe in it where he could have chilled out, running his engine with his lights turned on, sheltering from the sun. So the way brand values work is they should be guiding that guy's action. If you really believe in saving the planet, every single thing you do when no one's watching, well, I was watching, but just you and us, you and me now. Basically, this guy, he hasn't got the brand values flowing through him as far as I'm concerned, because he's doing quite the opposite. He's chugging out diesel fumes. And brand values in themselves can actually be quite misleading if we haven't put real work into working out what these things are. It's quite a big thing nowadays to put your brand values on your wall and to have way too many brand values. And I know that recruitment companies particularly like seeing this company's brand values, Huel. Every day, people who work at Huel have to remember not to be a dick. And it kind of, to me, it begs the question, what kind of people are you hiring that need to see that every single day? That kind of message isn't as healthy as something else that you could say, but that's their core brand value. I think actually there's loads of other things that they ought to think about beforehand. So being very mission and purpose driven is something that is absolutely essential nowadays for you guys. And it's part of the brand. It's the central core of the character. I want to say something that's really important. If you're working in marketing and you're thinking, hey, we haven't got any of this from our company, our bosses haven't worked this out. If you're expected to work out what the mission and the vision and the brand's values are, things have gone wrong. That's not a marketer's job. That's actually a leadership job. That is a job that when I work with companies, wherever they are, recruitment or not, I don't work with marketing managers to work out what the brand is. I work with the people who lead the company, because they're the people that are setting the vision that you tie the brand to. And the thing is, there is actually a recognized way that we cover in the Real Flex to control all this stuff. And that's one of the things I think you need to have. You need to have a strategic approach to doing this stuff, because not only does sticking all your values on the wall seem disingenuous to people when your staff aren't living them, it also leads to things like performative acts of being, let's say, talking about diversity, for example. Diversity is something that recruitment companies love to talk about because they know they should. And the easiest way to do that is to put up statistics about how many of the white people that are working in your company are female. Well, that's very nice, but is that really inclusive? You haven't necessarily thought about it. You've just tried to jump on the bandwagon. Real diversity isn't about buying pictures off of stock photo banks. It's about actually doing things. It's about deeds, not words. And that's something we're starting to realize in recruitment really quickly, because nowadays, if you work in big companies that have complicated purchasing requirements, some of those purchasing requirements, when you're bidding for a job, will include, can you please tell us how you measure diversity statistics? And can you tell us how diverse your recruitment team is as well? Why are they asking you that? Well, because it makes a big difference to their corporate values, and whether or not they see you as a company that values diversity and has done so by doing something about it in your own company will lose you or win you a job. That's literally happening to clients I'm working with at the moment, and I'm helping a couple of them through it. But if you look at some of the stuff that's happened recently, the slide you see on screen at the moment is a typical thing that came out on International Women's Day last month. And International Women's Day, everybody was excited about it, particularly recruitment companies. I noticed they were really excited about how many people were female that were working in their company. That wasn't really what International Women's Day was about. And anyone who tweeted with a hashtag related to International Women's Day or the right search terms were shown up quite badly on International Women's Day, because somebody made a Twitter bot which did this one simple thing. Every time somebody tweeted about International Women's Day, it retweeted them if their gender balance statistics were made public already. So it would pull those things out, and it would say, Boo Avenue, for example, are saying, hey, tag your girl gang in the comments below to spread some love, blah, blah, blah. All the usual platitudes about being diverse and supporting women. Gender pay gap bot said instantly, in this organization, women's median hourly pay is 31.4% lower than men's. The gender pay gap bot was made by two people who are all about just getting to equal pay and saying, look, don't say things, do things right now. I wanted to show you this because I wanted to show you how easy it is to do nice marketing stuff that feels good and means well, but then be totally kicked up the arse by something that your bosses should have sorted out a long time ago. Therefore, that's why you really have to make this link between what's going on internally in the company, how do you behave, what are your values, vision, mission, get the bosses involved, and then only after you've done that properly can you actually properly deal with things like let's talk about diversity in public, because people are out to work out whether or not you're just talking crap or diversity washing indeed. And diversity washing is what I would call putting multicolored pictures of people on your website, because stock photography sites have made it really easy to buy them. Happy Ramadan is a phrase that I've seen a lot. I've grown up as a Muslim, and in 43 years, nobody started saying Happy Ramadan to me until Canva templates started coming out. And now everyone seems to be saying it, which is weird. But, you know, the stock photography banks out there are very, very busy trying to provide pictures of Black women who are not old, but kind of old enough to be employed in an office that could look like it's a recruitment office, probably in a wheelchair, maybe not too pretty as well. That kind of stuff. That's what people are looking at to make themselves look diverse. But that's not what you should be really looking at. What you should be looking at is you are a business of recruitment experts who are placing people into businesses, or at least presenting people to try and place. What you should be looking at is the methods you use for, number one, are you bias free, or have you done everything you can to get rid of your bias? Number two, are you reporting? There's a whole load of other things. It's a big subject to go into. But again, what I'm talking about here, the subject I'm talking about is you can't just talk about things without connecting what's really going on behind the scenes. Not anymore, because you will trip yourself up in an instant and get exposed by somebody like the gender pay gap bot. Now, there is a standard model that I was talking about that you can use. And I'm going to actually just delete some of it because that's the best way I can show you this. What normally happens to us as marketers, or anyone who's speaking on behalf of a brand, if you're sending an email because you're a recruitment consultant, or if you are tweeting on behalf of a company, you're doing the topmost, the most highest and easiest lightweight part of the brand strategy pyramid, which is brand communication. The problem, which I said recruitment companies had when I was working 12 years ago as a recruitment marketer, is this is where it all starts and ends for a lot of people. You buy a volcanic package for your website and you say, right, we've got a website. What we're going to do, let's just get a copywriter to interview our boss and say, shove what he says up there. However, in real life, there's a lot of stuff behind it, which whether you have taken control or not of this stuff, it exists. And you need to look at your brand identity that underpins good brand communication. Have you put down on paper and into a structure exactly what it is you say about your company, how you describe it, what the differences are? Have you acknowledged who your competitors really are? The amount of times I've had recruitment companies tell me, well, we don't have any competitors. You've got to think about competitors who are direct that you know about, and indirect, which is anyone that will take your attention away from, the attention you want away from those candidates or those clients. The brand identity, that middle layer again, has other things in, like your tone of voice. But you really can't even get this right until you've got the very first thing right. Your brand foundations, they include 9 or 10 different things, which start at whoever the CEO is or whoever is in charge of your company, which is the mission that you're on, the vision, the goals that you've got to change the world or change your corner of the world, the whole reason that your company exists. We often wrap these things up into purpose. Values I've already talked about. They're in the brand foundations. Values govern how a company makes decisions and acts every single day. After that, you've got things like your how do you tell the story of your origin. But one of the most important things in your brand foundations is working out exactly who your target audiences are when it comes to marketing and communication. All of this stuff should not just be about talking about yourself. Your job, if you're trying to market a recruitment company or any company, is taking this pyramid, taking this fully complete brand strategy and deciding that you're going to use a variety of tactics to match whatever your audience wants. So the way we normally do that, a lot of people talk about demographics, and if there are any marketers out there, you've probably seen this meme that's gone about. Demographics talk about things like when somebody was born, where they grew up, how many children they have, what they do for a living, etc. If you only take demographic information, you end up thinking Prince Charles and Ozzy Osbourne are the same marketing target, essentially. We all know how different they are, but they both live in castles, right? Just very different ones. So we can't go by demographics. Most sophisticated marketers haven't done for absolutely years. There's something that you can do instead, which is get underneath the skin of your candidates and clients, work out what their world is like, look at what it looks like for them to apply for a job. It looks very boring and dull and completely devoid of recruitment companies when they start. And often this kind of stuff happens at 10 o'clock when they finally manage to put the kids to bed and cook their own dinner kind of stuff. The key here is to fully invest yourself in research. It's something that every single small business company that just starts marketing undervalues. The power of research for good marketing is enormous, and research is where this brand foundation starts. The bottom layer of this is research. Good research that happens again and again will lead to good communication up here, which is your little tweets that don't get you in trouble. And actually, forget getting you in trouble, they actually are productive. When it comes to looking into your audience's world, essentially all you need to know about them, you don't necessarily need to know about their age or where they live. What you really need to know to attract people to you and your brand is you need to know about the problems that they face, the needs they have, the ultimate goals that you can help with, and talk to them about that. Once you've gone out and done the research to find these things out, that's when you have a sustainable brand strategy for forever, pretty much, because it's all based around who you're trying to target and who they really are. And here's a secret. You've got people in your businesses that are talking to candidates and clients every single bloody day. If the marketing person or the marketing department is not talking to recruitment consultants and kind of eavesdropping on their conversations, you are just throwing away a load of data that loads of other companies, sophisticated marketing organizations, would pay for because it's amazing stuff. So get yourself connected to your recruiters if you are in marketing. And that's really the two things that I wanted to say that kind of underpin the problem that marketers still have today, even though marketing is having a moment, is number one, we're not strategic enough about the brand. You need to think of all three levels of the brand strategy pyramid rather than just concentrate on communication. If you already started communicating, you will have done, that's fine. You don't stop communicating, you just fill these in later. And the other thing is to create something called personas. Now, to give ourselves a plug, the Real Flex is a business that we publish templates that will help you do things like this. It will help you build personas, interview potential candidates and clients so that you can work out who your audience are. Once you make these, we literally have like a little form that you fill in while you're interviewing somebody, and then you can save it into a system and use them in your marketing forevermore. But the key here is don't just shout about your brand. Find out what your people need from you and shout in a way that matches their desires overall. And that really is all that I'm going to say about branding for today. I'm going to open up to questions for me and Midge. Invite Angela back in, I guess.
Yep, I'm here as well. If you want to click the stop sharing, we'll come back up onto the screen. I'm still giggling at Prince Charles and Ozzy Osbourne, to be honest, because I'd never even thought of that. And I'm not obviously a marketing expert, but that's sort of what my understanding was. You have to find who is at your marketplace, who's your demographics, who you're going for. And I'd never even crossed that mind that, they can be so different in that sense. I think that was a really good example of that. Okay, I haven't seen any questions come in. So the guys that are there, I can see that you're live on with us. So do put, if you've got a question, then do put that in there. This recording will get downloaded into the course, the green box there. You can access that and the 17 other sessions that we've done before on a range of different topics. So do go in and have a look in the gym for those. We'll put these slides into there as well. We'll make that little cut for you. And also, we'll be able to share the recording. You'll be able to access it on an ongoing basis so that you can come back. Because I did recognise a few of the names that were in there, and they are marketing people. So I know that they're here, obviously, to find out more. So Midge, let's come to you first of all. Then, what are your comments on the presentation?
Oh well, I've seen Liton in action many times with clients and on pitches, but actually I hadn't seen the Prince Charles description, and that summarizes it beautifully. And Liton is very good at bringing things from non-recruitment into make a point about our position. And I think from my perspective, recruitment marketing is relatively immature and young, but we've got a great opportunity to move it forwards. And we're about trying to elevate recruitment marketing and marketers. Most recruiters, as we know, may have one person doing it, but we're seeing more of that, and we're seeing more investment, generally speaking, not just with bringing people in to work for you, but also with recruitment marketing services companies. They're booming at the moment.
Well, I think that's the difference, isn't it? Everyone's got a marketing person, if they're a one-man band, they're still doing the marketing, the social media. But at that point, it's so surface level. And what really hit home for me in that presentation was the "don't be a dick." Because I smiled at that and I thought, great, that's really good. That's really funny. And it's only through you then delving into it and that comment around, well, wait a minute, why do they have to tell people not to be a dick? What type of people have they got working for them, that you suddenly realize, yeah, that backfires, doesn't it? That's not great, because you're telling everyone else, we are dicks, don't be a dick today.
So,
when you
leave
yourself
yourself
at
at
home.
home.
Can be.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things about "don't be a dick" is it doesn't add to a psychological safe place. It's great to have banter as long as you have psychological safety. If you're drumming into your staff's heads every day as they walk in, every lunchtime, whenever, "don't be a dick," it's a really bad central tenet to have compared to a "do something." So first of all, it should be positive, and let's tell them something like, "Do change people's lives today," whatever it is you want to tell people.
I'm glad you said that. We've got International Recruiters Day tomorrow, and Stephen O'Donnell, I saw, was on here, asked everyone to do like a minute, and that was my premise, that as recruiters we change people's lives, we make a huge difference to people. So I'm glad you brought that up with this sense. I'm just looking at the timing. We've got 5 minutes if we need it, but guys, if you've got questions, you need to ask them now. Midge, you did mention that there would be some links that you would be able to share.
That's the role for Liton in our world, generally speaking. We'll make an offer to all of your viewers, your members, to trial the Real Flex as we build it. And I'm now looking at lots of different screens. We'll be sharing an offer. So if people sign up for it, we'll then, when we have the first pieces of content going onto the platform, people will be able to access it, and we'd like good feedback and constructive criticism of what we're doing. But this will be free for all your members.
We have a private form which we are not sharing very widely. What we're looking to do is we're building basically a platform where you can come and get advice, templates, and all sorts of other stuff from various recruitment marketing experts. We're building as much as we can from people who are working in the field. So we've got people at LinkedIn doing stuff. We've got, and when I say doing stuff, I mean sharing their templates, their processes. Just the other day, I was talking to Rob Quirk from Tempting Ventures about how exactly do you get all your recruitment consultants to do marketing stuff with you. All of that is on video. Sorry, I sound terribly old school. And sitting there for you to learn from, but also attached to that is loads of templates as well. Now, what we're looking for is 50 people to join us in there in the middle of May to help us just get the content right. We want to know what you think works, what you think doesn't work, and what you want us to make that you think is relevant to people who are in recruitment.
Fantastic. So there's an opportunity there for people to get access to things. Yes, okay, you're going to spend a bit of time as a beta tester, but it's only beneficial to you, isn't it, if you're in marketing and all those templates. Callum's asked a question. How big a part of the puzzle do you think internal culture is for recruitment marketing?
Is that a question for me?
I'll say 80%.
Is that an 80-20 rule? You're just going with 80%?
Pareto's law again.
What do you think, Liton? How big a part is of the puzzle?
There's a Roald Dahl quote about it was in the Twits, I think. He talked about if you think nice thoughts, then nice things will come out of your face. But if you eat crap and worms like the Twits did, then you'll look disgusting and horrible. So I think internal culture, when it comes to any kind of marketing communication, it has a huge effect on what you can do. Otherwise, you have this mismatch where any crappy company that goes out and kills kids for a living can go and hire a marketer for £500,000 and say, look, make something look nice for me. But they'll eventually...
That went dark very quickly, Liton.
Well, Welcome to the real flex.
Yes, yeah, that's true. Real world at the moment.
Midge has seen me do a presentation where I involved Philip Morris, but that's for another day. But I think basically any bad company can dress itself up nicely, but if the culture's bad, it will seep out and it will get caught, because nobody has to listen to your adverts and believe you. If somebody's really interested in coming to work for you because they've thought, hey, these guys seem really cool, I like the look of the people, I like what they do for charity, I've seen all their badges, I've just looked them up on Glassdoor, they've got a review that says 1, and it says that they sexually harass you the minute you walk in the door. Oh, you know, they can look you up on other sources and find out about you in other ways. So your internal culture seeps out.
Yeah, it's definitely available now. That's a huge difference in the last sort of 5-10 years, isn't it, of people actually being able to access that type of information. So great for everyone, because we're not going to get the turnover that we get normally, where people turn up and 3 days in they go, whoa, this isn't for me. It's not what I expected, or it's not what they sold me. That 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months in recruitment is where people tend to make those big decisions. And yeah, the 3 days one is all about the culture and not fitting in from there. Thank you for your question.
Can I say one more quick thing about internal culture, if that's okay? Internal culture, partly the way you decide what things do, like how much you respect your data. Do you spend time updating people's data? It's such a small thing in your job, but when it comes to how somebody feels about you and your reputation as a good recruiter or a bad recruiter, when it comes to the marketing and brand side of you, it has a humongous impact. So those little actions that you do day to day in your internal culture, and how lazy people are or whatever, or how disciplined people are, that people outside notice straight away in ways that you don't even realize.
Fantastic.
So there's cultural change needed then as well as a result of this often.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Once you start digging, you then find out all of this information, and it sometimes takes an external company to be able to actually say it as it is, because internally the politics get in the way, don't they? So if that's you, if you're looking for a new brand and marketing partner, then obviously there's a new one coming onto the market. But thank you for sharing your information today. Thank you for allowing our members. So although you said you're only sharing it for a few, that's gone straight to 1,500 members in the gym. So we'll see who wants to join up, and we'll make a note of that as well nearer the time in May as that's coming through. So we're looking forward to that. Thank you for your time, gentlemen. Much appreciated. Loved having you with us here today, and hopefully see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Angela. Thanks, everyone.